Hi, I am Marion Grobb, and I welcome you to Marion Speaks. In this week's blog, I'm going to be talking about what's happening to a lot of people these days, and it's called the Great Resignation. There are many things at play, and it has resulted in a huge shift in the employment force. COVID, of course, the global pandemic has been a great cause for a lot of shifting happening. And we're tired of hearing about pivot here and pivot there. If I hear pivot one more time, I'm going to get dizzy. So, what I wanted to offer you were some solid suggestions as to how you can manage these changes and the great resignation and the staff shortages that you are dealing with. What to do. Now, as a manager, you are still expected to maintain a certain level of performance, to keep your people motivated, to keep them staffed and happy and serving your clients. Those things are not being put to the wayside. We still have to do all those. So I wanted to offer you a few strategies, and I do flesh out these strategies a little more in my written blog. So if that's of interest to you, go to MarionSpeaks, marionspeaks.com//blog, and you'll find all my articles. The first strategy I wanted to share with you was to measure your current levels of employee engagement. I can't emphasize too strongly how important this is to have this baseline. Once you get that baseline of how engaged your employees are, you'll be able to see what different actions result in different shifts. If you don't know what your employee engagement is right now, you could be missing a lot of warning signs that you can tell by measuring it right now, and neither would you have the baseline to compare when you do certain actions what the impact is. Having that baseline is pretty critical. In fact, I just had a client engage me recently, a couple months ago, to measure their employee engagement amongst their 200 employees. It involved an online survey, you can do that. And it also involved online focus groups, which was really cool because they all took place in the same day, all over 100 employees. You can participate in doing something like that, in engaging someone to do that work for you if you wish, or you can do it yourself. The one caution I would offer you is that if you are contracting someone to do this type of study and marketing research for you, make sure that you get somebody who's qualified in marketing research so that they provide you with a legitimate, a valid, and reliable measurement instrument, that is the survey that you're doing, and that they can analyze the data properly, because the results of what you get will only be as good as the development of the methodology and how it's implemented. So that would be a caution if you do choose to contract that out. You can do it yourself. A caution on that would be, make sure that you're using correct methodology, that you know enough about marketing research that you can create a valid and reliable measuring tool, that is the survey itself, and that your methodology won't have biases built into them unknowingly. So you can do it in-house. The advantage is it's a lot less expensive. The disadvantage, if you don't have the in-house expertise, is that the quality of the data may be compromised a little bit. But even if you do in-house focus groups, just chatting with your employees, if you have a small group of employees, dedicate a meeting to talking about what can they do, or how engaged are they, or what are some of the organization's strengths, or what are some growth areas that you could improve in, because all these things will result in keeping employees and attracting employees. Now, the second strategy is, when you ask employees, your team members, for their input, use some of the feedback that they're offering you. If you go to somebody and you ask for their input and you never use the suggestions that they're putting forward, they will be reticent to make suggestions the next time. It also really adds to morale and it evidences the fact that you heard and you value the suggestions when they see you actually implementing. So build that into the post survey step, into part of your project analysis, and your steps that you're going to do is the actual implementation. Use the feedback that employees are offering. And the important thing about that is, when you do use it, here comes strategy number 3, let your employees know that you are in fact using their input. Because if they don't know it, you might be working on things using lots of their input and suggestions and comments, but they don't know. They see nothing happening under the water where all the action is taking place. All they see is the calm lake at the top, but they don't realize all the whirlpool of activity underneath, how you're using their input. So as part of your whole study and your project on engaging employees, attracting employees, keeping employees, as part of that, use a communication plan so that when you do go to them and you ask for their input, you have a built-in way to communicate it back to them, what input you're using and how you're using it. This makes them feel valued, and they will be absolutely willing to input next time when you ask them. Using input from your employees is really critical to making them feel valued. And on that note, here is strategy number 4. That is, involve your employees in the actual solutions that you're developing to fill your staffing shortages. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, you ask them, whether it's through survey or focus groups or anecdotal, just chatting with them informally as a group, town halls, ask for ways that they might be able to contribute to the solutions of the staff shortages. Here are some examples. Your employees are actually conduits for new employees. They may know somebody with the skills and the experience that you're looking for. You can do this as informally or formally as you wish. An informal way is just to ask for suggestions, right up to a very formal program where you have some sort of an incentive or a reward, that if somebody recommends somebody, that somebody gets hired, they're successful in the job for 6 months or a year, that the referral party gets some sort of credit, an incentive, maybe a money, some sort of bonus, some sort of certificate, whatever sort of recognition. You can have something like that. So they know people that might be perfect for the type of positions that you need to fill. You can also use these gaps in staffing shortages by looking internally. Ask your own people, what are their succession plans? Do you have succession planning in your organization? Because if you don't, this is an opportunity to consider starting it. You can use those gaps as training opportunities for your existing employees. You can use them as succession planning. You can do it for shadowing. They can shadow on the job training for somebody who's in the position, so that when that person leaves, for whatever reason, you've got people to fill those positions. You can use them as acting positions where the person does have the qualifications and they are acting in the position until it becomes filled permanently. And that, of course, gives them an advantage of testing out the position, and maybe they are the perfect candidate. These are all opportunities. So what do we do next with this staffing shortage situation? Well, even if you don't do a full-blown study or an employee engagement formal analysis like that, talk to your employees. They are part of the solution. Engage them. And that's also a great way to build employee engagement. I'd love to hear what you're grappling with in terms of this great resignation, and what are some of the solutions that you have put to use that you found exceptionally effective. Please put your comments in the comment boxes below, and let's get the conversation going, because communicating with each other is the first step to solutions. Until we meet again, I am Marion Grobb Finkelstein, looking forward to hearing from you and what you think of these suggestions and what you are doing to help with these employee shortages and these difficult times, these great resignations. Until we meet again, I am Marion Grobb Finkelstein, wishing for you better communication, better business, better life. Cheers, everybody.